If you could go to Vegas and bet on this, and I'm sure you could, who the Niners starting quarterback will be week 1. And I don't even know what the odds would be, but if you had to pick one and put actual money on it, who would you bet on to be under center week 1 for the 49ers?
Trey Lance. Without
Me too. Me too.
Without
Why?
a doubt.
Why?
Well, Brock is hurt.
Yeah.
All right. And I don't care what you say. Being rehab doesn't mean being ready to play. So we don't even know when he's going to come out and be ready to play. And we don't even know what he is once he comes out and being ready to play. And then we don't even know how long it's going to take for him to get comfortable once he's out and once he's ready to play.
That's like 3 unknowns right there.
Right. And the irony of all of that is that anybody who wants to get behind that plan should have been behind the plan to start Trey Lance right away when we first got him.
Yeah.
So
the hope and a prayer plan.
Yeah. So if you're ready to get behind the throw Brock out there with wadded bubble gum on his shoulder, then you should have been behind the Trey Lance plan of throwing him out there day 1 after the draft. So you make it make sense. Right. So that's number 1. 2 is I understand that what Brock has done in the 8 games that he's played, but the investment in Trey has to be sought out. We got to see it all the way through. And I feel like with Trey being ready to go through with the season and Trey being ready to go, with the offseason and him being able to actually throw and get with guys and be ready to play, if Trey Lance isn't the week 1 starter, that is a bad thing. There's so many other
because it means that he failed and they had to rush Brock back, like bail us out. Our season could go off the rails immediately, please. Yes,
that's what I meant. Exactly.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, bro. Like that's what I meant by the last time I spoke to you on the other show is if Brock Purdy is the week 1 starter, Faithful, then that means that Trey Lance is so not bad. The guy. He's that bad. Okay.
Because think about it again. He said he wants a chance to compete. Dog, you're gonna get every rep, every freaking rep in OTAs, minicamp, and probably training camp too, and preseason. So you got a super highway, man. You could take all the lanes. You could do your thing.
That was real cute. I was ready to compete. I'm like, with your competitor not even ready for surgery yet. Okay, Trey. You know what I'm saying? So I understand what he wanted to do, what he was trying to say, but Trey Lance should be the week 1 starter. And to be honest with you, we won't even know what he really is until he starts playing real games, meaningful games, right? So even though we're going to go through, let's just chart it out, right? The season it happens every year. So let's chart it out. We know we're going to go through OTAs, right? We're going to go through mini camp, and then we're going to go through camp, and then we're going to get all of these reports about how he looked, how bad he looked, how good he looked, and then preseason is going to inch. We're really not going to know until week 1, right? We're really not going to know. And if Trey can't make it to week 1 with Brock Purdy coming off of surgery, that is bad news for us. Bad news. Okay.
Yeah. But a lot of this is how is like how bold is Kyle? Because last year he lost his nerve. Trey had some up and down practices against the best defense in the league, and he didn't have McCaffrey, and Kittle wasn't there for a lot, and Debo, he lost his nerve, brought back Garoppolo, kind of scrapped the whole thing. So what's going to be interesting is what if Trey Lance does better this year? What Kyle could do is be like, you know what, Brock's doing great. He's coming along. He's just not quite ready, and we don't want to rush him, and we don't need to because we have 2 starting quarterbacks, and boy, is Trey Lance playing great. So we're going to roll with Trey. It'll be week to week, and as long as Trey does well, Brock's coming, but Trey's doing great. And then if Trey ever falters, then they can go back to Brock at that point. But it seems like as long as Trey does well, it gives the Niners the license to be as cautious as they should be with Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think there's a possibility that we might see like a dual quarterback system coming into next year.
Why not? Yeah. You're not committed to either one. Both guys are young and unproven. Both of them need to be on the field. Why not? Why not? Why not? Would Brock object? Would Trey object? I feel like this is the one situation where the two 23-year-olds might be like, you know what? Fine. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Both, yeah, and really, like, could Trey take over the Taysom Hill role? Like, could Brock be like the pace horse to get us through the offense, and then Trey be like the wrinkle guy?
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. The problem with that, and we're going to talk about it later, is if you drafted Trey in round 2, yeah, whatever. Taysom Hill was a mid-round pick, yeah, whatever. But you took him with the top 3 pick, and you traded 3 first rounds for him. So, like, and then you're going to use him like a running back. Like, that's why we're upset about the injury to begin with, is because you don't draft a running back. That you don't spend that much on a running back. So at the same time, it's kind of hard to use your quarterback that way once you've made that kind of investment. That's the only thing. And the Niners have to decide, is he the next John Elway, or is he a dual threat quarterback? And you just have to live with the injuries as they come, because he's very expensive.
I think we're afraid of just letting Trey show us what he really is. Yeah. I think that a lot of the development that we put under Trey has been very directed on, we want him to look this way. We want him to be able to operate the offense this way. Yeah. But I don't think, why I feel so bad for Trey is that Brock got an organic, raw experience of like, all right, kid, here, just do what you got to try it. You know,
see if you can run the offense the way it is. We're not really making any special.
Yeah, we're not drawing up anything for you. We're not pointing anything. We know what you might like, but we're not really pointing anything towards your strengths. Go out there and do it. And I think Brock almost kind of told them how he needs to be coached. And I think with Trey, there's just been too many hands in the pot, in a sense. Like they've had hands on him right away. And
too many ideas about the best way to develop him. First one was don't play him for a year. That was a waste. Second one was use him as a running back early on to get some wins underneath his belt. Well, that didn't work either. So now you got to try your third approach to developing Trey Lance. And maybe it's like, letting him play quarterback. How about that? You tried not letting him play at all. Then you tried letting him play this dual threat running back type of thing, which frankly averaged 4 yards a carry. He wasn't tearing it up. It wasn't like he was Justin Fields averaging 7 yards a carry. Now you might let him play quarterback. There's still time.
Well, in the course of owning it, I think it's time for the fans and myself, now that we've seen what we've seen thus far with Trey and Brock, I think it's time for us to own the fact that Trey should have played right away. Yeah. He should have played right away. And if you look at what we got out of the years that we've had since Trey, is we've gotten NFC championships. We lost. And then we ended up going there. And then we ended up having to lean on a rookie anyway to take us there without Jimmy, which is what we were all afraid of anyway. And it ended up happening. Right. So it's almost kind of like all of the things that we feared that would happen to us ended up happening just in a slow drip over the course of years.
Also, another thing, they brought in Trey Lance and they said publicly it's because Jimmy couldn't stay healthy. But then they went back to Jimmy and then he got hurt in 2021 twice. And then he got hurt in 2022. Like, he's gotten hurt 3 seasons in a row. You said, we got to stick with Jimmy because he wins. And he gets hurt. Yeah. Which is why you brought in Trey. Come on. And now Trey might get hurt too, but you don't know that. Like, Jimmy's done it 3 seasons in a row.
And then now, if we look at the years,
4 out of 5 seasons. Sorry.
No, not a problem. And now, I mean, and this is just an accountability type of thing. Like, now, if you look at it, the biggest thing that we were all talking about is what? The window, right? Mm-hmm. And now, all of those years that have gone, the window is getting close. We can't control the size of the window.
Trent Williams, George Kittle, Eric Armstead, all guys get on the back 9 of their career.
Right. I feel like we get a little bit too high. We think a little bit too high of ourselves. And we start talking about things that really aren't any of our business, like windows. The window is what the league says the window is. The competitive nature around those who are ready to play against us. That has nothing to do with us. And quite frankly, sometimes we talk about things and we rely on things as if they're foregone conclusions. And it hurts us. Like, we were talking about the Super Bowl. Before we even got into the playoffs with Brock Purdy. You know, like, we need to check ourselves. Mm-hmm. We do, and we got a good team, but we're going to keep having these famous losses if we don't keep doing, if we don't, if
and
we
the
don't
Niners
clean
don't
this up.
understand that, like, if they don't pull it off eventually, that's what you'll be remembered
Known
for forever. The famous losses, because they're still thinking we're gonna win a Super Bowl, we're gonna win one, and we're gonna be champions, and we're gonna be legends, and that's how everyone's gonna remember us. You haven't done it yet, and you're really close to missing it. George, Eric, Trent, you in particular. I mean, I'm not saying it's your fault, but like the urgency is on. Should be feeling like an 11 for you guys. Like it's now. Now.
Those are the guys that don't care about this. They don't care about the NFC Championship games. You know what I'm saying?
Check.
Like, yeah, they're here. They're here to get a ring, and I think that it's time for them to kind of step outside of the cigar room and get with the others. You know what I'm saying? And start pulling your weight.